Hey, Greg.
How's it going, Tim?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Here we are, enjoying the spring weather.
Yeah. It's a beautiful night here in Pennsylvania.
Beautiful spring day.
Yeah. Sun is shining. Little breeze. Not too windy. We've had some pretty windy weather recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to play some darts. That was super fun.
Got the new dartboard set up.
Nice.
Adjacent to studio, whatever. C, B, D, F, whatever,
like that,
wherever we are here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a couple delicious ciders.
That's it.
To
this episode is not sponsored by Down East, drier side, unfiltered craft cider.
Yeah. It's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's pretty good.
I liked it. Yeah. Drinkable. Very drinkable.
Yeah. That's what the new sideline to our podcast is, very drinkable adult beverages.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's good? Anything good?
I'm kind of just doing the normal grind, nothing particularly good or bad, just rolling along, which is kind of nice. We had a little bit of a rocky beginning of 2025, but things are pretty smooth right now, which is good.
We'll take the nice and even life.
Yeah. It's a good place.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be.
For sure.
How about you? Things are good?
Yeah, all good.
Awesome.
Turmoil, it's up and down and it's busy and it's always crazy, but it's good.
Yeah.
I'll be mellow when I'm dead.
It's funny. I've been doing this thing where I'm trying to, focus on like gratitude and, all the good that I have and,
Nice.
and also trying to picture my perfect setup, and retiring sooner than later definitely is at the top of that list. Because I just feel like there's so many things that I love to do that are, like the podcast, and, I have my children's books that I illustrate, and I like to play the guitar, and I like to paint, and I like to work on cars, and I like to play darts, and I like to play pool, and maybe have an old arcade sort of setup,
Sweet. Yeah.
And I just think like there's so many other things I could be doing. And early retirement is top of the list, I think.
It's funny. There's like two kinds of people. Like there's the people that are like, if you won the lottery, what would you do? And there's the personality that's like, I'm quitting my job tomorrow. I'm putting the arcade in the basement and blah, I've got 8 million. And then there's people like, well, I think I would still work. I am not one of those people, Tim.
Yeah. I mean, I it's not that I dislike what I do. I mean, I do get enjoyment from it. But at the same time, I'm like, it takes up a lot of time during my day.
This whole job thing is so time consuming.
I know, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's fun to play that game, though, of imagining, like, what would you do, if all bets were off and you could just picture it perfectly. Yeah. And I can see it's actually kind of a loft situation. The bottom is a multi-car garage where I've got some classics, some cool new cars.
Very
Second floor is just like almost like a warehouse situation. Lots of windows, totally open. And then, pool table, pinball machine, multi-play arcade, cabinet, the podcasting recording area on one side, art studio on the other. And be pretty fantastic. So.
The only thing I would add to mine is a bubble boy hockey table.
Of course, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, all the fun stuff from the arcade has to find its way in there. Absolutely. Dartboard would have to move out of the garage into the loft. So
most definitely.
And of course, it'd have to be like some old school vending machines.
Oh yeah.
Get some soda, some snacks. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, I think that kind of is a nice segue into our topic for today.
Very nice segue, yeah. I think we're going to be talking about all things 1980s food, whether that be snacks, soda, chips, dinners, right? Because there's lots of certain types of food that became popular, Mom was cooking. Trying the recipe in the Better Homes and Gardens.
Exactly.
And so we came up with, we each did our own homework and came up with some things that we remembered from the 80s. And I'm not sure how many of them are still around, but.
Yeah, it'll be fun to kind of go through and see, I'm sure we won't know in all cases, but it'll be kind of fun to go through this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Awesome.
We'll just go back and forth and hit some topics.
Sounds good.
All right. Why don't we go? So I want to mention I'm going to start off with a very specific thing because it's one of my all-time favorite snacks, and it's Doritos, but specifically Cool Ranch Doritos, and they came out in 1982.
Okay.
I think it was. And it came out in 1982 as Cool Ranch. But as a kid, I started looking up images on Google, and an image came back and it said Cooler Ranch. Huh. And I'm like, that's right. I remember we called it Cooler Ranch because that's what the bag said. And I'm like, I'm confused. Is it Cooler Ranch or is it Cool Ranch?
Yeah.
And so, of course, I had to look it up.
Yeah, you got a little Mandela effect situation.
I'm like, what? I got an image. It says right there, Cooler Ranch. So it came out in 82, and it was called Cool Ranch. But then I guess they added more ranch. And so in 86, they started calling it Cooler Ranch.
Okay.
And it was actually Cooler Ranch until almost 2000. Oh, wait, it was Cooler. I'm sorry. Back the truck up. I'm sorry, it came out in 86.
Okay.
In 95, they changed it to Cooler Ranch.
Okay.
And then in 2005, they changed it back to Cool Ranch. Sorry, I got my dates messed up there. So, starting in 96, it was Cooler Ranch. And I remember for the longest time calling them Cooler Ranch.
Yeah.
But did you recall that or no?
Honestly, I did not. I mean, I very clearly remember when the Cool Ranch came out.
Yes.
Because my dad was a huge fan of just the original nacho flavored ones.
Oh, of course.
And I feel like, I could be wrong, I'll have to check with my dad, but I feel like he used to eat them with and then drink orange juice. And I don't know why, but I feel like that was his thing. But then when Cool Ranch came out, it was like this huge, like, oh my gosh, this flavor is amazing.
Amazing.
And yeah, I only remember them though as Cool Ranch. I don't remember I'm sure I ate them into the 90s, but whether or not I saw the rebrand that it was Cooler, I really don't remember that.
That's funny. Yeah. And Doritos, I lived on Doritos in college. I swear. Yeah.
I feel like from the day that Cool Ranch came out all the way through till I moved out of my parents' house, we always had at least half a bag,
right?
If not multiple bags of Cool Ranch Doritos in our house. Yeah, they were great. I really loved them. And what's funny is I can't remember the last time I had Doritos. I really can't.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, we have them often in the house.
Yeah. No, I think I need to rectify that and get out tomorrow and get myself some Doritos. Yeah.
So, what's one of your favorite 80s snacks, Tim?
This was one on pretty steady repeat as I was, I'd say like maybe what would be junior high to high school.
Okay.
For breakfast, we had 5 different things we'd have every week. It was the same 5 things that we'd have, but one of them was the toaster strudel. Do you remember these?
Vaguely. My parents, we didn't get this often. I always like a treat when I went like a sleepover.
Yeah.
And then I would get them.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a point where these made their way into our house, and it was like every, 5th day we'd have toaster strudels for breakfast. And the little icing pack that came with it.
Yes, I remember
see
that.
Like on the box, it was like, very elegantly swirled onto the top of it. And inevitably, like, it'd just be this glob or whatever. But my brother and I, we'd cut it at this angle and try to get a real nice, even distribution across the top of it. And we love those. And I feel like we got them a couple times for my kids. Like they still make them.
Do they really?
But
okay.
They didn't have the same longevity in our house with our kids that they did when I was a kid. So
it's funny what hits and what doesn't.
Yeah. But we really like those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with a hot pastry. And that kind of reminds me, and I don't know if you've got this on your stretch, but like of Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have that on my list, but like everybody loved Pop-Tarts. And, we had them for a little while in my house, but then for some reason my parents just wouldn't get them anymore. I don't know what the deal was.
And I feel like for us, it wasn't really a breakfast thing. And if it was like we'd grab them on the way out of the door.
Yeah.
And we'd eat them cold.
Okay.
I feel like the number of times that we actually toasted them was few and far between.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So when we did have them when I was a little kid, we would actually toast them in the toast, the toast or the pop, whatever, and eat them for breakfast. But I think the nutritional value on them is kind of low.
Yeah. But I do feel like the few times that we did toast them, we always toasted them like a little too long.
Oh.
And that fruit spread inside would get to be, molten lava, and you'd, scorch the top of the, the roof of your mouth. And
nasty.
Yeah.
Did and I don't want to get too sidetracked, but did you see the Jerry Seinfeld, is it Unfrosted or Frosted or something like that? It was pretty funny.
Yeah,
I
enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was good.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But next on my list, now this was an all-time snack for me as a kid. I remember I lived in a very remote place. And the only thing we had was this tiny little deli that we could walk to. And for a short period of time, they had Hostess pudding pies. And it was the pudding pie, but it was also frosted with chocolate on top. And they had the chocolate pudding and then the vanilla pudding. Talk about delicious. I mean, these things were out of control. We would like buy them off the rack and they would be out of them for a week until they got a new shipment. I mean, these things were fire.
Yeah. I remember a handful of times that I got one somewhere, it wasn't like I don't think they ever made it into our house, but we'd be out and it'd be like a convenience store or something like that. And we'd get one. And I've always been a fan of like Boston cream donuts. And those had a very sort of similar, vibe to them. Yeah, they were pretty awesome.
Yeah, we didn't get them in the house. We had to, use our pocket money to grab them at the convenience store. But yeah, they were fire.
That's awesome. Love that. I think I've got a little shopping list already going for tomorrow.
If you can, I don't think they make them. I think
probably not.
Again, the nutritional value of all of this stuff is highly processed.
Yeah,
not really good for you kind of stuff.
So it's only loosely related because of the dessert element here. Okay. But I remember this was probably more when my dad would like go out of town. Like he had a job where he'd fly to like, a couple days, be out of town, for work. And I feel like a lot of times when that would happen, we'd have the occasional TV dinner. And Swanson was the brand. It had the little sort of greenish blue wedge on the corner with the Swanson's logo. Yep. And the image of what you were gonna, burn your mouth on in the little tinfoil segmented areas of food. And the one that I remember having the most was the Salisbury steak dinner. Yeah. Which usually had mashed potatoes with it, some sort of vegetable. And then the one that we got always had the cherry flavored dessert. Yeah. That was liquid hot magma. We couldn't wait. We'd always try it a little too soon, and you would just. I feel like there's a theme here where we were always scorching our mouths. But yeah, the Salisbury steak TV dinner was a occasional, showstopper for us.
I have to say I never had a microwave
the TV dinner
until I was single.
Okay,
out in the in the real world.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I've never had one of these before. Let me try it. Yeah.
Now, did you have a microwave by that point?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was pre-microwave. So this was the kind of thing where it went in the stove. Oh. Or the oven rather, and it was like a 45-minute to like hour and 15-minute cook time. So it was like this, we're going to have TV dinners tonight. And then you would be just waiting for an exceedingly long time for a little kid. And then it's like 1,000,000 degrees.
No wonder why you burnt your mouth on the Cherry Jubilee.
Yeah. So it was a real, real experience. But we loved it, And it's funny, looking at this photo that we have, it looks the Salisbury steak looks disgusting. It's like grade F meat or something. But yeah, we loved it.
Now, did you actually eat them watching TV or did you eat them around the kitchen table?
I feel like there might have been a couple times where my mom did actually let us eat, in the living room. Okay. But in general, no. We always ate at the dining room table.
I can't remember the only time I can really remember eating around the TV was like when we got pizza or something like that. Yeah. Like we never had meals like in front of the TV. It was always around the table.
Yeah. So. And the one time that we got the Tino's pizza rolls, I feel like it was a night that there was it was one of those, special, we're going to show a really popular movie on TV. It's going to take 6 hours to play it with all the commercials. Yeah. And we got the Tino, or was it Tino's?
The pizza rolls?
Yeah, I think it was Tino's.
It's something.
I
don't think it's Tino's, but it's something. Tito's? No, that's vodka.
But anyway, we got them and we were so excited. Actually, I think now that I think about it, I think it was Romancing the Stone.
Oh, nice.
Was the movie that was playing on
that
movie. The TV. And, again, it was probably an hour of cook time in the because we didn't have a microwave. And there were 1,000,000 degrees, burnt our mouths, and they weren't good. They tasted like in our memory anyway, they were not as good as we had hoped they were.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've gotten off on a tangent again, but I got to look it up now.
Tostino's
pizza rolls.
Tostino's pizza rolls.
Okay.
Oops. I think that's what it was.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, you were really burning your mouth on some stuff, huh?
That's all we knew how to do.
All right, so up next on my list, And now I put this on this list. I was talking to my brother-in-law the other day, and he was just like, I said, well, what was your... Now, he grew up in the Bethlehem area.
Okay.
So around here, apparently, Tasty Cake is it.
Yep.
Right? Now, for me, I grew up in Jersey. It was Hostess. Right? But Tasty Cake here was apparently a pretty big phenomenon, and especially the candy cake peanut butter.
Yes. And then there's the crimpets also.
The crimpets. Yeah. The butterscotch. Yeah. Now, I've had them, of course, since being, a transplant here for 25 years. I've lived here longer than I did Jersey. But, I didn't grow up with them, but I was wondering if that was a big thing for the Lehigh Valley type people.
Yeah. Yeah, our childhood lunches, I would say on, any given day, there was a crimpet and or, the peanut butter chocolate, candy cake.
In the lunch?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And, the pies... I feel like I got those when I was out. That wasn't something that we just had in the house. But every once in a while, I'd be like, ooh, I'm going to get the apple pie or whatever. And it was sort of like a special treat. But
okay.
I don't know. I think the crimpets were always they were top dog in our house.
The big,
But they've changed. I feel like the flavor they got rid of all the trans fats and everything.
It's no longer good.
So, but those were always good.
Right. Giving them. So these are the chips that I remember as a kid that I loved. These are all, for the most part. There's one that's still here. I don't know. Do any of those look familiar to you, Tim?
Well, I know the Planters cheese balls. I remember having those in my lunch, but it was like you'd get the can, and then my mom would put like a, I don't know, 20 of them or something in like a little sandwich bag.
That folded up.
Yeah, that would be in our lunch.
Yes. The Planters cheese balls, fantastic.
Yeah.
Which they still make.
Yeah.
But some of these other ones, you remember Bugles?
I do. I feel like that was like, a secret treasure that other people's families would have. I feel like they were exceedingly salty.
Yes.
But yeah, we didn't have them in our house, but I do remember having them.
We had them every once in a while. They were good. Pizzerias. Do you remember Keebler's? It was like a Dorito shaped chip, but it would taste like pizza.
Yeah. Again, I feel like I had those at like some kid's party.
But it
wasn't something that we had. How about you?
We did. Well, when you went to the deli, like you got a bag of chips.
Yeah.
So that would be the bag of chips you would grab. Or I'm very sad that they don't make this. This was probably my favorite here on the list. Remember Keebler Tato skins?
I do. Yeah.
The sour cream and onion ones.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Or whatever they were. What is it? Sour cream and chives, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Delish.
Yeah. I feel like I had some friends, like Pringles, sort of. It seemed like they were kind of like a similar thing to a Pringle.
Yes.
But again, we never really made it into our house very much. But again, friends' parties, birthday parties, stuff like that. I remember having the Tato skins.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one I have there, we used to eat these a lot as kids, like in lunches, was Kudos.
Yeah.
You remember those? They're like a granola bar covered in chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a great sketch. I think it's Jim Gaffigan does, where he talks about the evolution of the granola bar.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, yeah, so we've created this granola bar. It's great for kids to have in their lunch. And the marketing guy comes back and he's like, yeah, it's fantastic. And then the other guy comes in and goes, well, the kids aren't really enjoying them very much. Where you can't seem to get them to eat them. Well, that's fine. We'll just put some chocolate chips in it. And he's like, well, that's fantastic. The kids are loving them, except all they're doing is picking all the chocolate chips out and leaving the oatmeal. No problem. We got this. We're just going to cover the entire thing in chocolate. He's like, well, the kids are eating the chocolate off the outside and eating the chocolate chips out of it. Well, we'll just get rid of the oatmeal altogether and just make a chocolate bar.
There you go.
But yeah, Kudos were pretty good.
They were good. Yeah.
I feel like there was another one that was called the Chewy granola bar.
Oh,
it was like a competing brand. I don't remember.
They still make those because the Quaker.
I think you're right. Yeah. And I think we had those, pretty regularly as well.
Yeah. Not as good as if they were if they covered them in chocolate, they would have been much better.
Yeah, I think Kudos was winning there with the chocolate dip. That's awesome.
Those are some chips. Again, you just grabbed them from the local convenience store.
Yeah, definitely.
How about some of these drinks, Tim? How many of these do you recall?
So 5 Alive is one that I feel like, again, my dad, he loved orange juice. I feel like we always had orange juice, but 5 Alive definitely, it had its couple years where that was the preferred option with the multi-citrus all in one.
Citrus beverage, yeah.
Yeah. Just the brightness of the packaging and everything. It's kind of fun to see it again. Jolt. I mean, I knew a lot of kids that had Jolt on the regular that never, ever made it into our house. So.
Never. No, we had to smuggle that at the convenience store.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't like it that much, to be honest. A lot of the kids I didn't think it was that good, to be honest.
I had a handful of them, but it wasn't like my favorite by any means.
No, okay. Yeah, I didn't, not a fan of Jolt that much. But the Minute Maid fruit punch, we got the half gallon in the container, like the 5 Alive.
Yeah.
That was one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
It's a shame they don't make that anymore.
I feel like fruit punch was like the king of all beverages when we were kids. You had the Hawaiian punch in the can, the high C punch in the can.
High C, yes.
The Minute Maid, there was a lot of options there.
Or if you were on a budget, the frozen concentrate of it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that was something we had a lot, honestly. We would get the concentrated frozen. I feel like it was grape juice, orange juice.
Lemonade. Did they do a lemonade?
There was a lemonade,
yeah.
I feel like we always had a couple cans of that stuff in the freezer.
Yeah. But it was the Minute Maid. It just said in white font, Minute Maid, in the black, and just pretended like it was fruit.
It is funny too, like even today, like some of the things that they promoted as being a fruit beverage, and you look and it says less than 1.5% fruit juice. You're like, okay, just colored water.
It's like that interesting. I don't know if we ever talked about that, but like how ice cream nowadays can't call itself ice cream. Did you hear it?
No, I haven't heard this. No.
So somebody made a lawsuit against I don't want to like disparage anybody, but like those little, like you go into a convenience store, you buy like a frozen pop or like this ice cream or whatever, Klondike bar or something along those lines, and they were like, this isn't ice cream. They argue, they went to a lawsuit and they won. And so now when you go buy a frozen treat, look at the label, even on the pints of ice cream, and if it says frozen dairy dessert, it's all chemicals.
Wow.
Look for something. It has to now specifically say ice cream. Yeah. And that's true ice cream, where that other stuff is just pumped full of chemicals. It's called frozen dairy treat. That's crazy. And if you eat it, you're like, ew, it doesn't taste like ice cream.
Yeah. Well, even McDonald's and some of the others, like they got on the whole soft serve kick. And then you start to wonder, like, what is this frozen slurry that, I'm drinking or,
frozen eating. Slurry.
Yeah, but we've always been kind of ice cream snobs. We tend to get Breyers or Ben and Jerry's, and I have to check now though, just to make sure that they are still in the category of ice cream.
Yeah, you got to be careful. And what I've noticed, because we like ice cream too, is the more flavorful it is, the more different, like M&M, caramel, whatever, is more likely it's going to be a frozen dairy treat. Yeah, it's when it's just like chocolate or cookies and cream, then it's usually ice cream. But once it starts adding all those crazy like double chocolate fudge,
Ben and Jerry's has me worried now that could be an ice cream treat or a frozen dairy treat.
yeah check that out.
That's wild. Yeah. So you've
I kind of went nuts with the food, Tim.
Yeah.
Got a list here.
But the candy is definitely a high point in a child's
absolutely
food choices, if you want to call it food. The one, again, it seems like a lot of this is related to my lunch choices, and the fruit roll-up was on pretty steady rotation in my lunch at school.
We talked about fruit roll-ups before. You were a big fan, right?
Yeah. Not Greg. No, not a favorite.
No, the pectin-based fruits did not do it for me.
Yeah, and I think I did say though that I preferred it when it was like you would tear off a piece and it was more like the paper, like thin.
Oh yeah.
And I'd eat it like that. Or some kids would like ball it up into like a gummy ball. I didn't like them so much when they were like that, but yeah. It does make me wonder. I'll have to see if they still make them. Like, what would my reaction be today to eat a fruit roll up, or if they'd be gross?
We can do that. We'll go pick one up and we'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll like it.
You never know. It's an acquired taste. It only takes almost 50 years to get there.
Now, the one up there that I absolutely love, and I think we might have mentioned this on our Halloween episode, was Nerds. Yeah. Love Nerds. Yeah. They're fantastic. A little tangy and sweet, and you open the little top and you could point out a little bit at a time. I mean, it's all in the marketing.
Yeah. Well, and I think during the Halloween episode, I mentioned the Nerds clusters.
Oh, yeah.
That I still, to this day, I have not gotten over it. I mean, I have to, like, the kids get them as, like, treats in their, various, holiday bags and baskets. And I'll be like, ooh, Nerds clusters. But, yeah, even the traditional original Nerds, I'm still a fan.
Yeah. I love Nerds. Yeah.
Now, another one you've got up there, the whatchamacallit, I was a huge fan of the whatchamacallit.
You were?
Yeah, I love those. And I feel like they were like, exotic candy though.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't find it at like, you'd always see like your Hershey bar, your Snickers, and Milky Way,
Three Musketeers,
all the mainstays. But the whatchamacallit wasn't everywhere.
Correct.
I feel like I just recently saw it out at Cracker Barrel. I think they have them there.
All right.
Yeah. I didn't get one, which is disappointing.
We'll have to add that to our fruit roll-up extravaganza.
Do a little follow-up. Listen to us eat stuff.
It was, as a little kid, they came out, and it was just, such, again, pretty good advertising, gimmicky kind of thing. Whatchamacallit, it was memorable. And I can't tell you if I liked it or I didn't like it. I just remember the name and thinking it was awesome just because of the name.
Yeah. No, I remember it was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But again, just didn't have it very often because they weren't that easy to find.
Yeah, this has been awesome, but we're only halfway through our list.
I know, and I'm kind of stuffed. I've eaten a lot as we've been sitting here.
Yeah, this has been good stuff. I think we come back and finish this as a part 2.
Yeah, I think this will be a fun 2-parter, and we can dig a little bit on some of these and get back to you with some information about whether or not they exist or not, because we're not great at doing that.
Yeah. Can't get enough Latch-Key Dad content? Well, check out latchkeydads.com.
That's right, Greg. On our website, we've got a plethora of photos from each episode, as well as other interesting links to content that we talk about on the show.
Yeah, Tim, I really enjoy all the pictures that you put up there, as they really bring the episode home.
Yeah, I guess I'm not afraid to show those embarrassing photos of my childhood. So, we encourage you to check out the website, latchkeydads.com, for all that content.
Excellent. And if you have a moment, check out our shop page where we've got really cool keychains for sale. If you don't know what to get your dad for Christmas, the holidays, Father's Day, birthday, check it out. It's a cool gift. Tim, did you know that listeners should like, review, and subscribe to the Latch-Key Dads podcast?
No. But now I know. Knowing exactly about it.